Kingside.com. Kingside.com.
Welcome to the PHP class. I've emailed you your website name, username, and password for this class. Let's go ahead and enter that now and log on and see how we're going to do this course. There's our opening screen right there. This has changed a lot. If you've taken courses from me before, I've completely redone the user interfaces. I've redone the labs for this course. The exercises are new and the homework are new. There's a lot of new stuff. So even if you've taken a course with me before, you're going to want to stick around for this video to explain what's going on. Across the top of the screen here, we have some drop-down menus. Right now we're on lesson 1, so you only see lesson 1 on these drop-down menus. But as you continue on through the course and do lesson 2 and lesson 3 and lesson 4, your past lessons will be on this drop-down menu. There's also a course info menu over here with a syllabus. There's a link to the syllabus. We'll come back to that shortly. There is a lesson outline, give you the title of the lesson so you can see which lessons we're covering, things like PHP files or SQL. And of course, there is a change of password link. The change of password link lets you obviously change your password. If you are taking additional courses from me in this same semester, you might see those courses listed here. If you've had me for 2 or 3 classes, the extra courses and switching between the courses would be listed right here underneath change of password. Finally, across the top of the screen, we have a log out button. That, of course, is to log you out when you're done. Please always log out when you're done working on your lessons. In red here at the top of the screen, we have our instructor's message for February 5th. This is an 8-week course. Pace is 2 lessons per week. What you're seeing on this screen right here is lesson number 1 across these buttons. You have to complete 2 lessons per week. Very, very important to stay on pace. Much of your grade is going to be based on whether you keep up. Students are not allowed waiting till the end of the semester to complete all the lessons. That will cost you dearly as far as points go. This is Comp Sci 192, the PHP programming class. There's my information. I'm the one currently logged on. You'll see your information at the top of the screen. The real action of each lesson occurs as this button menu bar here. Here's the videos, lecture, homework, exercise, lab, and quiz button. All of these are small pieces broken up to make up one lesson. This menu bar or button bar is designed to be worked from left to right. The first thing you should do is watch the video or videos. I'm going to start this video really quickly just to see it go. And that's your assignment, is to watch the video. You can watch it at full screen or partial screen. It's up to you, whatever you prefer. I'll pause it and come back. Now, some lessons will have multiple videos. Here's a part 2 video for lesson 1. It shows you how to set up an external web host. Watch both videos. Again, this bar across the top of the screen is meant to be executed left to right. You watch the videos first. When you're done watching the videos, you move on to the lecture. The lecture describes the PHP topic of the lesson. I'm going to make my text a little bit bigger. Be sure to adjust the size of the window to your liking. Adjust the font size to what you like on side of it. In these lectures, I describe what's going on as far as each lesson goes. This is an introduction to PHP. So we start with the very, very simple PHP coding. You can see the code examples are nicely color coded. And immediately after an example, I'll show you what the code does when it executes on a web page. In future lessons, these code examples might have buttons to execute the code. You're going to want to go ahead and execute the code whenever that is the case. Lesson 1 is fairly simple, so there are no buttons to execute code, but do take advantage of that when it says click here to execute the code. Read this, make sure you follow it. I'll explain things like how to put up a headline on the screen or how to put a paragraph text that aligns in the middle. Now you can see this says in the middle should appear in the middle of the web page. Immediately after showing you the code that does something, I execute it, and you can see that's what happens when in the middle prints centered on the screen. Your job for every lesson is to watch the video and read the lecture. Watch the video and read the lecture. I'm scrolling through this fairly fast. Here's an example right there. Here's an example of a link, some code that I want you to execute. Make sure that you click on it. This is a very, very simple PHP test program that you can copy and paste and try out on your own. There's what the program does. Come back using the back button. I have to talk a little bit about HTML in a PHP class. PHP is a programming language that lets you program web pages, right? Web pages that are computer programs so you can dynamically change them. Now I know I'm doing this quite fast. You should, of course, read this entire lecture as you complete lesson 1. So there we have it. We've watched the videos. We've read the lecture. What do we do now? Now comes the graded portion of the lesson. Each lesson has a homework assignment, a programming exercise assignment, and a lab assignment where we implement some PHP on a web page, and a quiz. These 4 pieces are what's graded and what earns you points towards your grade. The homework is up first. Again, do this left to right. Watch the video, read the lecture, then do the homework. Homeworks are fairly easy, especially this one. Homework number 1 is easy. A PHP file can contain a mixture of HTML and PHP code. That's true. That's very much a true statement. What kind of language is HTML? It is a markup language. There's very little difference between PHP. I'm not going to give you all of it. I'll leave one of these unanswered. Let's get one wrong here. I will purposely get this one wrong. Susie has a big S. I'll spell it with a little s. That's going to be a mistake that's going to cost me a point. And I will submit the homework where I'm done. See that button there? Submit the homework. Now the beauty of this online class is it's all interactive and you can immediately see how you did. So I've got problem 1 right. You can see it clearly says I'm correct. I got problem 2 correct. I got problem 3 wrong because I never picked or answered problem 3. I got problem 4 wrong. I input the wrong value. As I told you before, that should have been a big S. And problem 5. Ooh, I only got 2 out of 5. Yikes, I need to improve. Well, let's go back and complete this homework. True, and fix our big S. And let's say, who's the bad comment here? Well, I'll go ahead and submit it. You don't have to be perfect. I'm up to 4 out of 5. I want you to get as many points as you can. Each point counts towards your lesson grade. It's a maximum of 5 points for each homework in this class. So try and get 5 out of 5. See that back to your lesson plan. That'll get us back to the main screen. So there's the homework. That's the first part of the graded assignment in each lesson. Here's the programming exercises. It says I want to do a PHP print statement. Let's go ahead and run this. It says print the word kitty. Now, this is the first lesson. It's going to be fairly easy lesson. If you find these super easy on lesson 1, that's kind of by design. I wasn't looking to bust your chops on the first lesson. By the way, I've rewritten my lesson interface quite a bit here, so please, if you notice anything out of whack, let me know right away because each and every one of these exercises has been modified. I needed to just print one simple word, kitty, like kitty cat, and it looks like my output is correct and I got a success and it's saying, hey, you did a good job. So I'll return to my exercise and you'll notice here on the total attempts for the exercise, it says you've attempted this once and you had 1 success, but be careful here. It says 3 required. You are not done with this exercise yet. It says you need to do 3 of these. So again, I will do my print statement. Very important on these that you follow directions. That's foot, all lowercase. If you put uppercase letters, it's not going to match correctly. If you add extra spaces, it won't match. There's my second completed one. Now this time I'm going to close the window. Notice this message here on the screen. The attempt success numbers are for this page are first loaded. We want to click here to update numbers. This screen doesn't automatically update. You have to click this link to update your numbers here. Notice I'm 2 out of 2 here. That's a pretty good batting average, but it's still not the 3 required. So let's do one more print statement. Orange this time. And if I'm a happy camper and woohoo, 20, 30 years of doing this, I can now type in code with the best of them. And look, good job, exercise complete. I did the exercise 3 times. You want to go do these exercises until you see that blue message across. What happens when you do something wrong? Ooh, let's do something wrong. And we're going to do a different command here called the echo command. I'm going to get it mostly right, but I'm going to make a mistake. Hopefully it'll call me on my mistake. Ooh, unable to run code. The following keywords or phrases are missing. Semicolon. Every executable line of PHP requires a semicolon at the end, and I left that semicolon off. That's a terrible thing. In fact, it was such a lame attempt, it said I'm not even going to record this as an attempt. So I'll come on back and try it again. And this time, I'll at least get the required element. That's one type of error you can make. It's not the only type of error. Let's get the code right this time, but get the word wrong. So the new exercise wants me to output the word tennis, but I put the old word in there, water. That's going to be a mistake. Now this code will actually run and execute, but the output won't match. So I'll get, I do not see the correct output, water, and of course, it should have been tennis. If you read these instructions, it should have been tennis. There's other types of mistakes that you can make when you're inputting these things. Here's a common mistake. I left off a double quote. This is what we call a syntax error. This code shouldn't run. And in fact, this code will attempt to run, but fail, and it gives me a syntax error, unterminated string literal. It's saying, hey, you're missing a double quote there. Nice, better feedback. This is what I did over the break here. I got this feedback much, much better than it used to be. So for those of you who've taken me before, I hope you notice an improvement when it comes to the exercises. Once again, this page here does not update automatically. You have to click the link to update. Here's the update. Here's my 2 attempts that didn't work. Make sure that both of these get 3 successful completions and the exercise will be done. When you're done with your exercises, you can go back to your lesson plan. Now, if I skipped an exercise or I didn't complete one, you could always come back and do it again. And in fact, even when you're past this lesson, you'll be able to come here to the exercise menu and go back to any exercise that you want. Again, we are just going left to right here. We start with the videos, we read the lecture. When the homework is done, we do the exercises. When the exercises are done, we do the lab. Ooh, the lab. The lab is where we're going to build a web page. In fact, you're going to build 2 web pages. I've revamped this course, so we're going to have sort of a first half web page number 1, and a second half web page number 2. In the first half, we're going to build a very simple web page without much formatting on it. In the second half, we're going to build a web page, a pseudo business site to sell cars, houses, or vacations. Now, don't worry too much about that. You don't have to commit to one of these right now. But in the second half of the course, lessons 8 and above, we will be building a website to sell cars, houses, or vacations. For now, our web pages are going to be really, really simple. For lab number 1, I want you to build a web page that does something like that. It outputs lab 1 assignment. Hello, my name is John Doe. And of course, it'll be your name, obviously, not John Doe's. That's all I want you to do in lab 1. Now, in order to do that, you're going to have to do what's called set up an outside web page. I'm no longer hosting the web pages. You've got to go out and find a service to host your web page. My number 1 choice there is called X10 Hosting. Not only do I have a link to that site to go set up a free website, but I also have a video. The part 2 video is setting up a website on that. So that's my number 1 choice for you setting up an outside web host. This is easy. This is not hard. It's just like setting up a Facebook account or an eBay account. You go out and you set up for a free hosting account. Do not pay for anything. You do not need to purchase a domain name. You don't need to pay for service. There are plenty of free web hosting sites out there. Watch the part 2 video and it'll explain it. There's another backup host there, 00 Web Host. Some people don't like X10 hosting. We've used this one in the past. Every once in a while we'll see some bugs in it. Again, notice it says free web hosting. Make sure that you take the free option for this class. After this course, if you want us to go buy a better web host, feel free. You can also use your own website. If you have a current web server that supports PHP and MySQL, sometimes called MariaDB is the new name for it. MySQL and MariaDB are the same thing. But your site has to support that, one of those databases. Please note, many ISPs do not allow PHP. It is not a guarantee that your website will host it, so you have to double check. If your website doesn't host it, you've got to go to one of these free hosting sites. There's that video that I was talking about earlier. It's a video on how to set up a site on X10 hosting. Go ahead and watch that when you have a chance. So that's it for Lab 1. You've got to go out, set up a web hosting site, and put just a couple of lines of PHP on it just to prove you can do it. Finally, we're at the end of the line here. Over here on the right side is quiz number 1. What is quiz number 1? Quiz number 1 is important because taking the quiz is the signal that you're done with this lesson. Now we're going to just pretend that I completed the homework, I completed the exercises, and I completed the lab. And now I'm going to take quiz 1 to say I'm done with lesson 1. Which PHP print statement is correct? So I need to look at a good print statement out here. The go-to PHP website, I believe, is, I can't remember. It's not com, it's either org or net. I think it's net, as I recall. Now I'm going to get a couple of these wrong. A, I don't want to give you all the answers. And B, I want to show you what happens when you get one wrong. Submit this quiz. Down at the bottom of the page is to submit the quiz to see how I did. A 3 out of 5, that's not too bad. 3 out of 5. The 3 answers that are correct are lit up in green. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see, what did I get wrong? I did not answer question 4, so I got that wrong. Wrong answers will show up in red here on the answer list. When you're done reviewing your answers, click back to your lessons plan. Now, boom, something new happened. What is the new thing that happened? Remember, I took quiz 1 to signal I was done with lesson 1, and what happened was lesson 2 showed up on the top of my screen. When you're done with lesson 1, lesson 2 shows up. Once again, on lesson 2, it looks like we have 2 videos, a part 1 and a part 2. We have a lecture, we have a homework, we have an exercise, we got a lab, we got a quiz. To complete lesson 2, you go through this buttons, left to right, complete all the 4 parts. Watch the videos, read the lecture, then do the homework, exercise, lab, and quiz, and you're done with lesson 2. The plan is for you to do 2 lessons per week. 2 lessons per week. This is very, very important that you do that. Now, a couple of things have changed. Look at this drop-down menu. More videos showed up. Now, why did more videos show up? Because we now can choose between video 2 and video 1s. Lesson 2 has 2 videos, variables and assignments in part 2. Lesson 1 has its 2 videos. Everything that you go through in this class will be on these drop-down menus. As you go through more and more lessons, you will see more and more videos under this drop-down lesson. Now what do I mean? Let's do it again. Lecture. We're on lesson 2 now. There's lecture 2 right there. If I want to go to lecture 2, I can go to lecture 2. If there's something in lecture 2 that I saw in lecture 1 and I want to go back and read lecture 1, from that drop-down menu, I can go back to any previous lecture. Back to my lesson plan. Same thing for the homework. If I want to go look at homework 2, I can do it through the drop-down menu. Or if I want to go look at homework 2, I can press the button for homework 2. This is your current lesson. These blue and green buttons, that is your current lessons. Whenever you want to go back to previous lessons or exercises or labs, you go to the drop-down menus and you can go back to previous work and see what you did. So these pull-down menus across the top are very important for going backwards and going back and covering them. So for instance, you can see on exercise 1, I did exercise 1.1, but I never finished 1.2. You can always go back and finish. As long as you do 2 lessons per week and keep reasonable, you can go back and complete exercises and homeworks and get the credit as long as you do it by the deadline. Let's go back to the main screen. What else can I show you? Let's scroll down here to the bottom a little bit. You can see there's an archive of completed video, lecture, homework down here. This is just a repeat of the pull down menus at the top. If you find yourself down at the bottom of the screen and you want to go back to older homeworks or exercises, you'll do it. As your lessons pile up, you'll see more and more lessons show up on here. And it's designed to give you like a big picture in one shot. A couple of things I want to show you here on that. See that 3 on the exercise? That tells me that I gotten 3 out of the required 6. If you look closely, 3 are required here and 3 are required there. If I really want to be done with that exercise, that should be a 6. Same thing for the homework. The homework has 5 possible points that you can get. My homework is showing 4 points on it. So what this is designed to show you is, hey, if you left something out and you need to go back and do it, you can see right there from the screen. It's also nice that it shows up on the drop down menu. Notice it's telling me I got a 4 on homework number 1. That's what that 4 in parentheses is telling me. So if I want full credit, I want to get the 5, I got to go back and do it. Notice on the exercise, there's a 3 here. All these exercises, when they're really done, should have a 6 here. You can see on the quiz that I have but 3 points. 3 out of 5. Again, this should be 5, this should be 6, and this should be 5. We are not completely done until you see those numbers. And once again, you can always go back and see it. But assuming we're done with that, let's go ahead and watch the videos and look at the part 2 videos and read the lecture for lesson 2 and so on. So that's it. That's our test drive. That should give you an idea how to complete the class and the lessons. Hope everything works out well. And remember, most important, you're going to do 2 of these lessons per week. That means I need to see homework submitted. I need to see exercises submitted. I need to see lab work. And I need to see quiz work. Watch the videos and read the lectures, and that will give you everything you need to do that work. Welcome to class. And again, I've made a lot of changes. So if you see a little glitch here or there, please let me know. I've already seen a couple during this little test trial I've went. My exercise 1.2 isn't working quite right. I'll go back and fix that before you start. So hopefully you won't see it. But if you see an answer that you think is absolutely true and it tells you not quite right, go ahead and let me know. Good luck and enjoy the class. I'll be emailing you shortly. By the way, make sure you log out when you're done. Wow, I totally forgot to cover a couple things. Let me sign back on here. Now, what did I forget to cover? I forgot to cover some big changes to the user interface. Let's look what happens when I collapse the size of the screen. What I've done here is I've built the user interface so it'll work good on a cell phone screen using some technology called Bootstrap. Bootstrap was invented by the makers of Twitter here, and it allows you to view this course from a cell phone. So I've kind of collapsed my browser window down so you can see what happened. First thing you'll notice is my lesson buttons are now vertical instead of horizontal. I still can go to video 2 and see video 2. I can still click on the lecture and view the lecture. I can still click on the exercises and view the exercises, but they are now vertical instead of horizontal. If you don't like that look, make sure you widen out your screen and they'll pop back to where they are. So also on the cell phone, the menu across the top capsizes down to this. And of course, you can go back and look at old videos. You can look at old lectures here. It's a standard collapsible menu system for any cell phone. So I think that's quite important. If you're looking at it or have to check on something, it's good. The videos I think look really good on a cell phone screen. I don't like to program on a cell phone screen, so I don't recommend doing things like homework or exercises, but you certainly can watch your video from a cell phone, and that's what the screen is going to look like from your cell phone. Widen back out here to where we were before. The other thing I forgot to go over, and I can't believe I forgot it, was the syllabus. We need to talk about the syllabus. This course will be a learn by doing approach. 16 online lessons will be posted containing both a lecture and a lab assignment. The lectures will explain a specific topic, and then the lab assignment will ask the students to implement the PHP topic on their assigned web pages. There are going to be two web pages, sort of a first half of the course and a second half of the course web page. Once the lecture and the lab are completed, students take a short computer-graded quiz. By taking the quiz, the student is recorded as completing the lessons and allowed to move on to the next line. Now, as you can see, we're going to do most of the work here on college1.com. But I also have an interface on Canvas through the school. Log onto your Canvas and you'll see your deadlines on there. You can email me through Canvas. You can post to a message board on Canvas. We will be using Canvas a little bit, but primarily it'll be done online at college1.com. Here's my instructor information. My schedule is a little fluid, so if I update my office hours, I'll be sure to update it right here in the syllabus. Here is my email address. Canvas is the best way to contact me. If you have to email me directly because can't log on to Canvas or something like that, go ahead, but try to text me or email me through Canvas. Here's the book info. Very, very inexpensive book. Please go ahead and buy the book. More big changes. If you took me for JavaScript, I've changed my point scale here, so this is new and different. I'm now doing a 200 point scale instead of a 100 point scale. The online lessons, and we went through lesson 1 and you saw lesson 2 pop up on the screen. The online lessons are going to be worth 30% of your grade, or 60 total points. Every 2 weeks I'm going to grade 4 lessons and assign 15 points. I put a little warning about pace because if you do not complete 4 lessons in 2 weeks, you will lose points. I'm very big on students staying within the pace of the course. You have to do 2 lessons per week, and if you don't do 2 lessons per week, you will lose points out of that score. Midterm. The midterm is new. Halfway through the course, about a month from now, you're going to come in and take a midterm. That's going to be worth 15% or 30 points total. This is not an online midterm. This is a TLC midterm. You've got to come in and take a midterm exam. If you live in out of the area, you can arrange a proctor with a local college. Contact me if you need help with that. Web pages, that's a plural web pages. Just like the midterm and final, we're going to have a first half web page and a second half web page. Web page number 1, I believe, is going to be worth 20 points. It's going to be graded about the time the midterm is taken. And then web page number 2, the second half web page, will be graded at the end of the term, and that'll be worth 30 points. I've got a little tired of students waiting to the last minute to work on their websites. I'm going to force you to do it by grading the web pages twice, once in the midterm and once near the final. And finally, we have a final exam with 30% or 60 total points. If you add up all that points, it adds up to 200 points. Students are required to come to the campus TLC to take the midterm and final. Out of area students may arrange a proctor. Out of that 200 points, if you get 175, you're going to earn an A for the class. 150, you can earn a B for the class. 120 or 60%, you can get a C in the class. And if you get half the points, you can get 100 points. Exams will be held on campus, or the student must arrange for a proctor. Make-up exams will not be allowed. You will be given plenty of time. I expect on the midterm, I'll send out an email saying probably the 5th week of school, saying come in between Monday and Thursday and take this. And for the final, it'll be after spring break, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's kind of switches every semester, but I believe after spring break, you'll get an entire week to come in and take the final. Now, it's important to know Computer Science 192, PHP program, in addition to the rules set forth in the Santa Clarita Community College districts, students enrolled in this course must agree to the instruction rules and guidelines for an online class. Students are 100% responsible for backing up their own work. The instructor or the college district does not guarantee any data or web page stored on the class website. Suggestions on how to complete backups are in the lab, but even those instructions carry no guarantee. Students should save their own work and may be required to present it in the event of a system failure. Also, students must complete his or her own lab assignments, projects, and exams. Any student that has another person complete his or her lessons, projects, or exams is cheating. Students may be asked for identification prior to taking exams. If you don't do the exercises and homeworks and quizzes yourself, it's going to hurt you on the exams. Guess where a lot of the questions are going to come from? That's it, the exercise, homework, and quizzes. You don't do your own work. When you come in and take that midterm and final, you are going to be seeing those problems for the first time. So you have to complete your own work. I will enforce it through the midterm and final exam. Students are required to complete their work even if the class website is unavailable or down for a short period of time. That's why we have a book. You can read the chapters, do your reading assignments. If the site's unavailable, students must continue working. Your outside web page has nothing to do with my website. You could improve it and add to it even if my site is down. Instructor is not required to work on weekends or required to answer email immediately. If you send me an email on late Friday night, don't expect an answer till Monday. Students should keep working on their reading assignments, their outside web page, and backup pages if they encounter a problem. Keep working. The number one mistakes that students make is they stop. They'll hit a problem. Oh, I couldn't do exercise 3.2. And then they'll stop and don't do anything until you get 3.2 done. No, 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 no. You've got to keep going. If you can't do an exercise, finish the homework, finish the lab, take the quiz, move on to the next lesson. You can see from the drop down menus, it's very easy to go back and finish it. So you fire off an email or you post on the message board, can I have some help with this? And then you keep working on something else. Do not stop. This is a very fast paced course. You have to keep going. Students must complete work assignments each week. About every 14 days, the instructor will review your progress and assign 0 to 15 points. There are 4 reviews for 60 points total. Students that do not finish their lessons before each review will lose points. You should complete 2 lessons each week. It is unacceptable to wait until the end of the term to finish assignments. This will result in a loss of points. Once again, the system is not guaranteed to be available 100% of the time. If you wait till the last minute to complete lessons, do so at your own risk. Every term it happens. A student will sign on once at the beginning and won't sign on again for 3 more weeks. If you do that in this class, that will cost you points. Every 2 weeks, you should have 4 lessons done. And if they're not done, you will lose points. All right, so here's some lesson titles and topics that we're going to have. Basically, you can see we're going to go from standard PHP programming to object-oriented PHP program to CGI, databases, SQL, MySQL, advanced object-oriented programming. We're going to cover the gamut. After this class, you should be not only a good PHP programmer, hopefully you'll be a better object-oriented programmer, and hopefully you'll know a lot more about web pages too. All right, now I hope I'm done. Let's log out and finish this video off.